I'm Elisa Mortensen, and this is Undo Redo.
Hello, everyone. This is take two because one didn't record. Every once in a while, I just get so gung ho to push record that I don't check my audio or all my settings and things, and I just push go. So today we're going to talk about why your brain is the cause of what drains you. I know sleep has something to do with it sometimes, and I know that hormones may have something to do with it, or tragedy and catastrophe, sickness that does cause drain. But what I'm talking to about today specifically is the kind of drain that's even worse than physical, and I would say adds to or magnifies the physical, is the mental drain that we have on ourselves. And over the years when I've been coached personally and I coach others, some of the top 3 emotions that drain us the most are shame, blame, and regret. And I want to talk to you about each one so your brain can be on the lookout for the ones that it is. And so you have a bit of knowledge behind what's happening in your mind, and that it might not be, if you're getting plenty of sleep, it's not that you're tired. And that if you have fine health and you're eating well, it's not the food, you're not hangry, right? We're not going to blame it on hormones or menstruation or even postpartum. Our minds can overcome our body at any time that we want. We get to decide how we react. We get to decide how we feel. And I want you to really stay empowered here, because the things that happen in our physical body, yes, you can give space for them and you can honor them, but we don't have to give in and be reactive to them. Okay? This is the way we stay empowered, in a way that we don't drain ourselves further and double down when we're already physically drained into going into a state of where our mental also drains us, because our physical may already be struggling and our mental just will double down on ourselves. So here we go. Shame, blame, and regret. The reason we're going to talk about these is because these 3 things block our wisdom. And what is our wisdom? Our wisdom is the ability to respond in any situation, to be responsible for our lives, for our reactions, for our outcomes, and for our experience. That's our wisdom. And we don't want to block that, right? We want to take ownership. We want to choose. We don't want to be stuck in fear, which is what shame, blame, and regret do. And it's interesting because these 3 emotions play on each other. All right. When we have blame, it shields us having shame. If you don't want to feel shame, you could just blame someone else. They did it. And then you get away free without feeling any shame because they're the ones that did it. But what happens is it also keeps you stuck. So your brain is really tricky. Some people, it's very important that they don't feel shame. So they go around blaming everybody else for their discomforts, for the fairness in their life, for everything that happens to them. Like, you'll never hear them say, oh, I did this thing. They have to be right. And it has to be someone else's fault because they're shielding themselves. And regret doesn't access any solutions. It keeps you stuck in the problem. It keeps you stuck in never taking ownership, and you can't change what you don't own. It's interesting, right? These are our teachers. Shame, blame, and regret are the teachers. They teach us. They are there to give us more wisdom. But it only happens when you can extract learning from each one. Here's what shame does. Shame is you're not who you wanted to be. You're acting awful. You feel like a failure. You're not implementing things you know could help. You don't make it better. All right? Blame means you have no help because you have to have help in order to get anywhere. It keeps you from responding well. It keeps you from being responsible for anything. And so there's no ownership. No change happens from there. Regret. Regret has absolutely no energy. It does not move forward. It fears not getting what you want, like forever. When you have regret and you keep regret with you, it fears forever. I won't get what I want. I won't get what I want. It fears failure. It fears decision making because we won't get what we want and because we will fail. That's what regret is like. These are the what regret sows if we nurture it and keep it with us. It expects the worst. And it's not a good steward over our life. It takes us down a path of recreating all the regrets that we've had. Okay. So if life isn't happening in the way that you want, what you tried didn't work, let's get some wisdom out of it. And the reason we want to get wisdom out of it is because, like I said, wisdom is the ability to respond in any situation at your highest level and take responsibility for your side and get into new spaces and progress. I want you to know that whenever you get stuck in these emotions, you are going to feel self-loathing. If you are really struggling, it's an emotion that's blocking you. And you'll feel pity. You'll feel like it keeps you from doing something about it. You'll feel like hiding it, like you'll hide your shame, that it keeps you in a dark place. Well, yes, we're going to not want to own these things. We don't want anybody to know we're feeling such shame and such regret and such guilt and such blame, like it's everyone else's fault. Oh, I never told my daughter it was her fault that I feel this way as a mother. People can feel it. You can feel it, and it doesn't help you live your best life. It feels closed in on. People are like, I still feel terrible about that thing. They hold themselves in, I have such big regret and big shame that I still feel terrible about it. They feel it's an eternal punishment. Like, I have to feel terrible about this thing. I never want to be okay with it. And it's self-punishment, really. The past leads with feeling terrible every day because of that thing. And it makes you relive something over and over and over instead of moving on into new future things, right? You're doing too much, you're doing too little, everything's judged, and you don't get anywhere. Shame, blame, and regret cause you to lose power, not have responsibility or empowerment, or you step into wisdom, you extract a lesson, you extract value, you extract something that's very beneficial for you for moving forward. Because I promise you, every experience is there for your learning. Every experience you have is there to give you more empowerment, to give you more knowledge, and to tap into this wisdom and to grow your wisdom. You don't want to keep destroying your future days. And shame, blame, and regret will keep destroying your future days by not letting you move forward and create the life that you do want, make the changes you know you could make, have the effects on the things that you can see. We can all see a better way and a better version in ourselves and a better version in what's around us. We just can't get ourselves to do it because there's an emotion blocking us. If we remove this emotion, now we have access. So I'm going to tell you how. You start open up your creativity by thinking, what are 3 theories? Like if you had to just make a guess, just guess 3 ways why you aren't getting there. You've wanted something for so long. You want this thing to change. You've never been able to change it. You've always felt shame around it, guilt around it, and you've always had regret. What are 3 ways in which you aren't getting yourself there, in which you cannot get over it? Right? That just gives you a little bit of ownership and opened your mind just a little bit. Like, what are 3 ways that I am stopping myself from getting through? Just gets the ball rolling, just gets the brain going. Next, I want you to go find out what is working. There is something that you're doing right now when you're able to feel peace and enlightenment and empowerment, and when you feel at your best. What is that, and how is that working for you? And why does it work? Is it a distraction? Great. We can throw that distraction in anytime you want to go into being more stuck or spinning those stories. Is it an escape? Great. You can escape for just a moment so you have access to some sort of a better feeling that proves to you you can stay in a higher energy whenever you choose. We're going to bring that into this practice. Whatever works for you to get out of those emotions, we're going to do more often. If it's a vacation, we're going to think, what do you feel on a vacation? Let's bring that to you right now. Let's close your eyes and go there. And you can bring it to yourself. We're going to collapse the amount of time that it takes you to get in that more empowered feeling. When is it and what is working? We're going to leverage that right now into your darkest days of shame, blame, and regret, spinning the stories that aren't serving us. And just a little reality check for our mind. The timeline in which your life opens up and evolves and things happen for you and you start gathering wins, having miracles, that timeline was always going to be with your effort. You have plenty of resources to make this happen sooner. You can get the guidance from a coach, a book that can give you some great ideas, but seeing your brain will get you there. That's what I help you do. My clients, and that's what I like doing for myself. I have a coach who can show me my brain so I get there sooner. That to me is the most valuable thing I can have. Because when I am at my best, everything in my life is at its best. And everyone that I come in contact with becomes their higher version as well. How is that not the most valuable thing ever? It gets all of my time, resources, money, and attention because it is the most useful, important, powerful thing for me to invest in. Right? So if you invest some time in yourself and you take yourself seriously, your real timeline of coming into these dreams and these goals and these miracles and less drain and higher energy, you're going to start seeing it. So now it comes to you with your decisions, your effort, your investment, your time, your focus, your practice. It brings it right to you. Just because something doesn't happen in our way, in our timeline, doesn't mean it's not going to happen. You can put more effort, energy, time, and money into make it happen for yourself even sooner. How is parenting the biggest delay in gratification? Think of how many years it takes to feel like a success at it, to not have the shame, the guilt, and the regret around it, and not have the blame for all the circumstances that got in the way from you really having what you wanted, and all the problems. The thing with empowerment and wisdom and higher energy and a higher version of yourself is that it won't happen on its own. It doesn't just come to you. You decide that you're the person that is the best to handle setbacks. What you didn't realize is that you could believe and tell yourself that you can handle things when they don't go your way. This is what got me into it. I started to believe I can handle when things don't go my way. I can handle when I'm a big mess. I can handle when I think it's them. I can bring it back to me. What do I have access to right now? Sure, people do stuff. They do. But what am I going to do next? Because that's what matters more. There's two spaces you can be. You can be in theorizing and evaluating, which is very creative, which gives you a lot to go off of and hypotheses to make and wondering, what do I have access to? How could this be me? What part did I play in this? And really look into it without the shame, without the guilt, not settling in those emotions, simply being in theorizing. Or you can slip into the emotion of worry, defeat, guilt, and regret that keeps you stuck. One's logical, one's emotional. The logical brain here, the emotional brain's here. One's going to take you into new places and give you new answers and have you see a lighthearted, better, higher version of yourself and desire that excitement, having new things and new ways and it being better than you could ever imagine. Then you're in the energy of evaluating and gaining wisdom. When you get sucked into shame, feeling bad for yourself, loathing, self-pity, it takes you into worry and defeat and expectation. Then you get stuck in the emotion and it blocks you from ever accessing wisdom. Remember, every time you feel shame, every time you feel like blaming something, when you feel like you gotta hide and nobody can know your little secret of how awful you just behave, what you're thinking, what you're really doing. When you want it to be everyone else's fault, the situation's fault. And when you have regret, like you can't change that happened and then you just feel stuck. Those things are there that teach you. Those are what bring you wisdom. So how can you find the wisdom? I've already told you two ways. You can start by theorizing and you can get out from the emotion. Find the moments that do empower you because I know you feel empowerment sometimes. When are you on top of your game? When do you shine? And you can bring that into the moment. You bring that into the moment that you feel the worst. You remember who you really are and that you really are capable of having a better emotion, and you replace the fear, the guilt, the worry, the shame with something empowering. This is just a way to rewire your brain and train you for something new? How likely are you to change if you believe that it's not even you doing it? If you can get out of the emotion and access your wisdom, you'll know it is you. So we're going to find what's working and keep what's working. And while you think about and try to create new ways, you get used to instantly letting go if you see something holding all of that back. If you see something entering, you interrupt it and you take action. Don't let it come to stay. That emotion will come in and you'll instantly feel shame and you're like, well, it's your fault. Well, you didn't tell me, right? It's that snap judgment. If you notice that coming, even after you've done it, you could say that and think, oh, you know what? I'm the one that forgot and I'm blaming them for not reminding me. Stay in your power. Don't let that emotion come to stay. Kick it out. Treat yourself and your energy and your wisdom like the important thing that it is. And if you've made mistakes before, think, I am responsible and I can change that. You can go make amends. You can always repair. There isn't anything you can't resolve with changing its story, changing its meaning, having a real good look at it and turning it around into the biggest lesson you've ever had. You get out of regret. You are now the new person that doesn't want to have regret anymore. You're better from here on out and you have a future focus. Regret keeps you in past thinking and you need to access future focus in order to make the future different than the past. Like I said, we bring regret into the next day and the next day and the next day, or we cut it off. We decide we are not that person. We do not want to feel regret anymore. I'm done with that. And then we move on to a new future that's regretless. Your mistakes aren't proof that you're incapable. Your mistakes are you doing better from here on out. From here on out, I will do better. I did that thing. I made that mistake. I will no longer ever do that again. From here on out, I'm doing this thing. And you can draw a line with yourself. There's people who quit doing bad habits that they're doing like cold turkey. This could be one of your bad habits. Like you always go to shame, you always go to pity, you always go to self-loathing, you always blame your circumstances or your health or this and that for not showing up well. And for being nitpicky and for being critical or controlling and for being angry and upset and too sensitive and always turning on them. Right? It's you. You take the ownership. You own all of it. And you go to responsibility from irresponsibility. And that's the only way to get it. I made mistakes. I'm going to take responsibility. And going through irresponsible things that I've done gets me to deciding I would like full responsibility in my whole life for the rest of my life from now on. Shame, blame, and regret still your dreams. They still your capacity. They still your ability. Takes more time to get you to your dreams. The lessons and wisdom from shame, blame, and regret, worry, guilt are waiting for you. What can you learn in them? What are they there to teach you? Get out of the emotion and get into the learning. You can never be a leader without owning what you're doing and owning who you are. No other person or thing can create your outcome. You are solely responsible for the outcome of your own life. So to wrap this up, I would like you to trade blame, shame, and regret for empowerment, for wisdom, for something more valuable for your future, because those emotions are going to keep you from learning about yourself. Those emotions are why you have ignored yourself. As your coach, I will keep showing you that what you think is Everest to climb is actually a tiny hill. It's possible for you to access thoughts that I've got this. This isn't insurmountable. I bet you this is smaller than I think. I've had some practice. I bet you I'm more capable. Even if it's huge. And some of the best thoughts my clients have, the most recent thought that one of my clients have had is, even if this is huge, I can handle it. If you went around accessing your day with like, even if something huge comes at me today, I can handle it. What's most likely to happen? I'll tell you, you're going to be able to handle it. You may not know what the work will look like, but once you get into finding out, how could it be a lot of fun? How could it show you more about yourself? And how could it be the best wisdom that you've gained in a while? The bigger the obstacle, the bigger the gain of wisdom. Then you have a deeper belief, I am capable of doing this. That felt powerful. I am revved up and I am all about that. I want everyone to know that's listening to this I want everyone to know who's listening to this episode that you can handle it. There isn't anyone out there that can't handle it once you decide to. I want you to listen to the soundtrack of your brain, because it's most likely on a draining mode. There's something in the background playing. There's a soundtrack going in the back of your life. I want you to listen to it. I want you to eavesdrop on it. What is it saying? What are the things that you're telling yourself when you see an obstacle? What are the things you're telling yourself when when you get snap judgment and when you lash out and when you crumble and lose it? In those moments that you think something you just can't handle or it's insurmountable and you're done, what plays in your brain that makes you go there? What we're going to do is we're going to tailor that soundtrack to something more beneficial. We're going to tailor that talk in your mind, that soundtrack that's running. We are going to change its algorithm. We are going to make it work for you instead of against you. When you are thinking about the obstacles, when you are thinking about the challenges, what is it? What is your mind saying? And what do you want it to be instead? What could help you so big? Where are the places that you have done so well and that you have shined? And how could you use that at that very moment when you usually crumble? You decide what plays on this soundtrack and you decide what stays. And whatever plays and whatever stays is either going to give you life or take it away. It's going to give you empowerment and wisdom and more learning and growth and a fantastic future. Or it's going to keep you stuck in the emotions that you've always been in with the problems you've always had, repeating the same loops. You decide what you skip. You decide what you thumbs down. You decide not to take that invitation. I love being this version of me that I have tailored. I don't just allow any old thing to come into my mind and for me to run with it. And I want you to join me in this. I want you to join me in taking a look at what drains us and what we double down on and the pressure we're putting on ourselves and the deflation and the doubt and not thinking we're capable. When we can handle it. We can become capable at any moment we decide. So your brain is the reason for your drain. Let's tailor that soundtrack to play useful things. Let's do it. I have plenty of thoughts that tell me that what I say doesn't matter or that I don't matter. What I do matters, but who I am doesn't really matter. It's just interesting. That one's getting quieter. That one is probably the biggest one I've ever found. Like if I could just stop talking because nobody listens. Like, what kind of a thought is that? That's going to keep me in like feeling shame that I spoke up, feeling regret that I said all of these things, or that I think I know and I'm telling everybody how to be. I have a lot of things that I just skip or thumbs down and don't let play. And my brain will probably always offer me these things, but I'm getting so good at making them less often and less powerful and staying in my own empowerment and my own wisdom and my own decisions instead of becoming emotionally like forfeited to everything around me and letting something else decide but me. All right, share this episode with whoever you thought of while you were listening, because that is how heaven reaches us most, is through each other. Be that person that heaven can trust. And I will talk to you next time. Thanks. Bye.